For the fourth My Hero Academia movie, it was revealed that an evil All Might will be the main antagonist in My Hero Academia the movie, You're Next. This came as a surprise to many fans, with some flat out disliking the idea of the villain being an evil version of All Might, claiming it to be My Hero Academia using the tired out evil Superman trope. Which begs the question, did My Hero Academia make a mistake with the reveal of Dark Might, All Might's evil variant, and him being the main threat our heroes will face in My Hero Academia's fourth movie? So let's address the problem of evil All Might and the possible My Hero Academia multiverse. Now, to really answer this question, we have to look at what My Hero Academia is. On the surface, My Hero Academia is a Shonen Jump manga series created by Kohei Horikoshi that's set in a world where superpowers are the norm. A series that delves into the superhero genre, similar to that of Marvel and DC. But My Hero Academia is more than just that. It's not only a homage to Horikoshi's love for the many superhero comic books and Shonen Jump mangas he grew up watching, taking inspiration from the likes of Marvel, Star Wars, Dragon Ball, and Naruto to name a few, but it was also a culmination of Horikoshi's failed previous works, that being Umakadoki Zoo and Barrage. My Hero Academia was Horikoshi's final attempt at creating a manga, so it acted as Horikoshi's way to implement some of his greatest hits from those previous one-shots and cancelled serializations to create something fresh and new in a genre that isn't. The superhero genre is nothing new, and the many generations it's been around, the more tropes there were associated with it. It's why we have superheroes wearing tights to this day. So My Hero Academia tends to implement a lot of these superhero tropes in the series, even subverting our expectations of these classic tropes. But specifically for this video, and primarily thanks to DC, the evil Superman trope has become something of the norm in the superhero genre. The evil doppelganger, or the evil Superman trope, has been used in various ways throughout comic book history, where it sees a fan favorite hero or an alternate version of said fan favorite hero that becomes an evil villain that the heroes of the story must take down. The character that popularized this trope is of course Superman himself. I mean, what's scarier and more epic in a superhero comic than when the universe's strongest hero becomes its most dangerous villain, which is a premise that the fourth My Hero Academia movie is seemingly following, with Superman being one of comics' most recognizable Boy Scouts and the strongest character in the DC universe that's on the side of good. Him becoming a villain was a big deal until DC realized that Superman being evil sells. Now Superman, or a variant of him, is evil almost every other week, making the trope boring as a result. On the bright side, this tired out trope of what if a Superman-esque character was evil has inspired the creation of some of comic books' most popular franchises to date, like Invincible and The Boys, giving us characters like Omni-Man and Homelander respectively. So if the trope can be used for good, why do fans think Dark Might is such a bad villain for the fourth My Hero Academia movie? Well, with the movie going the evil Superman route, having its main antagonist be an evil variant of All Might, some see it as kind of lazy, especially when the movie could be teasing that this evil All Might could be from the multiverse, which brings up the topic of multiverse fatigue. Fans of the superhero genre are tired of the multiverse. Marvel hyped up Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness just for it to not really deliver on its title, on top of the multiverse saga barely having anything to do with the multiverse so far. And then from the DCEU, we got The Flash showing us a pointless multiverse, because by the time of its release, the DCEU was already dead, with James Gunn having already been announced to create a new DC cinematic universe. These two massive disappointments kind of soured the taste of the multiverse in many people's mouths. It also doesn't help that multiple superhero franchises recently have been leaning on using the multiverse as a plot element. Sony has the Spider-Verse movies, DC Animation doing Crisis on Infinite Earths, hell, even Invincible couldn't last 2 seasons without introducing interrupting the multiverse, which these are all good multiverse stories by the way, but the disappointment of the MCU and DCEU multiverses have pretty much overshadowed everything else. And the multiverse hate on the My Hero Academia Your Next movie happens to be a direct result of that multiverse fatigue, though I feel Deadpool and Wolverine could be what changes things for the better when it comes to the multiverse as a concept. With that said, did My Hero Academia make a mistake with Dark Might being the fourth movie's main antagonist? No. For one, it's not confirmed whether or not this movie has any multiverse elements in it. The multiverse aspect of things is pretty much all speculation right now due to the trailers and Dark Might coming out of seemingly nowhere along with his giant fortress. Regardless, these movies have always tied into the manga in different ways narratively. Two heroes introduced Malicious Shield and a young Stars and Stripes who both would play bigger roles in the final act of the story. Heroes Rising had a villain that was the first person to be given a copy of All for One as a test before it was done to Shigaraki. World Heroes Mission saw a villain whose motive was to stop the Quirk Singularity Theory from happening, which the Quirk Singularity Theory is what drove Garaki and All for One to conduct his experiments in the first place. So even if the Your Next movie does use the multiverse to explain the existence of Dark Might, that would mean that this movie would be setting up or tie into a possible storyline in the future, maybe leading to a spin-off or another movie, as the manga is set to finish Deku's story after the final war. And yes, the previous movies are canon. Characters from all of the movies have shown up in the manga, so stop typing that the movies aren't canon. Secondly, and most importantly, My Hero Academia has been out for nearly a decade at this point and is nearing the end of its main story following Izuku Midoriya. I think seeing an evil version of a beloved character like All Might is more than welcome by now, and fits within the superhero genre that My Hero Academia is in. If variants of an evil Superman, Goku Black, and evil Invincibles can exist because of the evil Superman trope and be used to tell interesting stories within their respective franchises, I don't see why Dark Might is being looked down upon for being the same thing as them. I believe the use of the multiverse and evil Superman tropes can be used to tell a very compelling narrative. Just thinking of how Deku is going against an evil version of the man he idolizes is interesting and gets me hyped up. Potentially seeing him being conflicted at first because of how Dark Might looks like All Might but is twisted and evil, and then realizing how much him and the world took All Might for granted after all of the peace he brought, then we see him more motivated than ever to take down Dark Might to uphold All Might's legacy and bring back that peace that All Might had fought for leading into the final war. I think this would make for a great story. It not only gives Deku more motivation to bring back peace leading into the final war against Shigaraki, as this movie is set to take place in the few days before the final war in the My Hero Academia timeline, but if it is a multiverse story, it could open the doors for even bigger threats or even really cool crossovers in the future past the final war. Again, we don't know exactly if this movie will feature a multiverse, but My Hero Academia taking on the evil Superman trope just makes sense. My Hero Academia has always taken on classic superhero and shonen manga tropes, so why not the evil Superman and evil doppelganger trope? It would just be another way that My Hero Academia pays homage to what came before. And it's not like this is going to be the last My Hero Academia movie either. There are most likely going to be more movies that take place after the final war and the end of the series, so there are going to be more routes that those movies can go in. Dark Might can have his evil doppelganger moment to shine for just one movie. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on Dark Might being the villain for the fourth My Hero Academia movie. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to Detroit smash that like button down below, and if you are new to the Kitoroki channel, then be sure to subscribe to the Kitoroki channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss any My Hero Academia videos. Remember, season 7 is right around the corner, and I'll be breaking down every episode in depth, pointing out all of the Easter eggs and changes from the manga, so I promise you don't want to miss those season 7 videos. With that said, I'll see you all in the next one.